Hello, and welcome to another edition of the NRS Insights Podcast brought to you by National Retail Solutions. I'm John Lofstock, and today I am joined by an old and dear friend, Dr. Nancy Caldarola. Nancy is a consultant in food safety and sanitation, and she holds a PhD in business management. And I'm going to put her on this, embarrass her a little. Nancy has been a trainer and the go-to expert for convenience store chains in the National Association of Convenience Stores for a long time, say 2 or 3 decades. She's someone I got to take her class. You may have seen her expertise in industry trade shows or podcasts, or like me, gotten to take in one of her classes as part of the NACS Cafe food service standards program, which was pretty cool. That's the first time I ever had to analyze a P&L, by the way. And you gave me homework and I figured it out.
Okay.
So, Nancy, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
I am fine. I'm great, John. So this is great. I'm looking forward to this.
Good. Well, you have been around the food service industry, both C-store, restaurant, and many other formats for many years. So over that time, I imagine you saw some of the great characteristics of a winning food service program. So if we can get started, just tell me about the great ones. What do you see the great ones do?
The great ones take care of their people. Do it that. Start with that.
Mhm.
It's so important to take care of the folks that work for you, especially today. Today, it's really hard to find employees, first of all, and if you're not going to be finding them, where are they? They're
Mhm.
out there. Believe me, they're there, and you have to do a lot of research sometimes to find everyone. However, what we're talking about is how to get people interested in maintaining a good operation and a clean operation and a one that's going to attract customers because it's clean and sanitized.
hmm So, the people issue is something that, you're hearing a lot now with the new administration, no tax on tips. I think the underlying cause of that is not necessarily the money, though. It's to try to get people into the workforce, into the food service business, into the services industry to get the economy going. And that's all part of taking care of people, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. It's all part of taking care of people. You take care of people in the beginning by providing them a true program that they're going to be able to get trained in and they're going to learn about and they're going to do something with their futures. The problem we do in our industry is sometimes we don't train people. And we also are sometimes not very careful about what we tell people. We promise them the moon and
hmm
we don't even deliver that. So that's another problem. You have to deliver what you're going to.
I do want to get into a deeper dive on training because and it's not just training on how to use the point of sale system, but into food safety training and things of that
Mhm.
nature. But on the convenience store side, and even you're starting to see chains like McDonald's looking to leverage automation. What's your take? This is the question I meant to discuss with you before. What's your take on that? Because automation is great. It saves man hours. But if you're a customer, you kind of lose that connection or that one you could lose that connection with the customer.
Oh, yes. For example, I don't enjoy going into McDonald's and going to a kiosk. I don't enjoy. However, my grandkids and my kids, no problem. They just love it. They think it's terrific. They think it's faster. I'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with the person that's going to take my order to make sure that I am ordering the right thing.
hmm And these apps, I was amazed at. I saw a figure in Starbucks. I forget what it is, but it's really high. It's like 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, maybe, of all of their purchases are done at the app call ahead, so that people are just walking into the store, going through the drive-through, and picking it up. Now, I suspect you're a lot like me. When I go get my morning coffee, I like to talk to the guy behind the counter. How you doing today? How's it going? What's up? It's only a minute, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
That's because we are in the industry and
Mhm.
we understand hospitality. We also understand the importance of relationship. And I think that is the key that we're missing when we start just going with the automatic system. What kind of hellos, goodbyes, etc. do we get with the system?
Mhm.
You go and you enter it, and then you go pick it up, and that's it. Goodbye. Nothing even said. So
Mhm.
it's a real concern, and we have to make sure we're doing it right, or else how are we going to be able to find out whether or not something is going right or wrong?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. That's a great key. Right? That old saying, you can't fix 100% of the things you don't know about. So,
That's true.
so if you have a customer who's not happy with something and they never tell you, and you don't have that relationship, yeah.
True. So that's one of the pieces that we have to be very cautious about.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the pieces that fits into the the sanitation piece.
Hmm.
Because if we don't do what the customers want, I mean, for example, we have a typical situation where a customer comes in, and why do they come to a C-store? They come to a C-store because they want snacks, they want a drink, they want cigs, perhaps, they want some other stuff, and they want to use the restroom,
Hmm.
correct?
Oh,
So, and if the restrooms don't look good, and if you're not asking somebody, how are they looking? You don't know, and you're not going to be able to correct it.
oh, the restroom thing, and I know we've talked about this over the years, is if you go into a store and the restroom is filthy and you were going to be a food service customer, especially I think definitely more on the female on the for women consumers, they're walking out going, I am not eating here.
Right, correct. That is exactly right. And it concerns me because we have a lot of people that don't understand this is how you clean a bathroom. And that's where training comes in.
Hmm.
Training has to be brought in early on, and we have to go through a list. We have to go through how people are supposed to be doing the job, and then a follow-up and a check. And I don't know whether or not we're truly going through the follow-up and we're going through the whole process. That is a real error on our part. Management, I should say management's part.
Oh, 100%. Now, I know that some chains are starting to leverage AI and cameras. So instead
Yes.
of just saying every 30 minutes you go clean the restroom, what they will do is they will get a trigger after 10 customers. So 10 customers have now went into the ladies' room or the men's room. It's time to go clean it. Or you can set the number whatever you want, five customers, one cut, 10,
Mhm.
whatever. And that trigger ensures that it's being done effectively.
It will. And that's another piece to add to the list. These are all things that can be added to a typical day and make them a lot easier for us. You can't remember everything, so that's why you have these nice triggers that'll make you remember to do it.
Now, there's also a great story. Don Zeitlau, I've mentioned this story before. Don, founder of a chain called Quick Trip in Wisconsin, which everyone should know. You talked about management buy-in. That's what triggered this memory. Is that there was a phone number in every restroom at Quick Trip that said, "If this restroom is not up to your standards, call me, Don." And
Mhm.
it was his it was his office. So if you're an employee at that store and Don is getting, 800 whatever it is, 700 stores at the time is getting a direct phone call if your bathroom's not clean, that tells you two things. One, we take this seriously here. And two, I better not get a call from Don saying, people are complaining about our restroom.
Yes, that would not be good. So yes, and I remember Don doing that, and it was good because he took a commitment. He
Mhm.
said, "We will do this," and I think that's one of the pieces that we have to talk about in what we're doing. We have to have commitment from management. The culture of food service within our C stores has got to be up there because I mean I went over a lot of things that we did in the past, and I was revisiting a lot of stuff, and I found that we are just sometimes very not concerned, and I'll say not concerned about how people do the job. We're not concerned because we don't have time. And it goes back to the people again. You don't have enough people, so what are you going to do?
Mhm.
But you still have to be a leader. You still have to do it right. And I think that that's one of those things that management has to be committed and management has to follow through with the rules. And there's no shortcuts. Shortcuts are a bad, bad thing. And shortcuts will hurt you in the long run. So that your employees will say, oh, I'm not going to follow this guy. I mean, look what he's doing. That's important that we don't do that.
I remember when I was a young reporter at Convenience Store News magazine. So this is probably 95, 1996, something like that. I landed a cover story with Dave Thomas of Wendy's
Oh, yes.
and could not have been just a nice man. And he told me that story the first time I heard it. Everyone always asks, why are your hamburgers square? And he said, we don't cut corners. And I thought he teed me up and he led me down that road, but it was brilliant. And it was a great marketing strategy for him. But cutting corners is, it's toxic.
And it does work well because employees are like, oh, okay, I know what to do now. I can follow through and I know what role I play in this whole thing. I
Hmm.
think that's one of the things that really concerns me is that when we see a lot of things happening, we have to make calls. And the calls that have to be made by employees are, do I follow this guy? Do I follow the lady? Do I not do it? What am I going to do? And then you have to say, okay, should we go do this now, or should I follow through with all the different things that we have in the back, like cleaning supplies and all that kind of stuff? That's another piece, cleaning
Mhm.
supplies. Because if we don't have the right kinds of cleaning supplies, you don't have the right kinds of cleaning supplies, you don't have the right kinds of equipment, you don't follow through on any of that stuff, you know the rules. Everybody has to follow them.
And once people start slacking, it's impossible to get caught up,
Right.
especially if your reputation takes a hit. And now we can let's if you want to jump over to some of the food train. That was your big thing, was training on
Hmm.
for foodborne illness and things like that. But if you're a convenience store, would you can you recover? I mean, I guess you can from a salmonella. Chipotle seems to still poison people on a regular basis. They get away with it. I don't know
Yeah.
why. But I mean, just Google it. You hear about all
Yes.
the
Yes.
but convenience stores probably don't have that leeway. They don't.
No. No, we don't. And yeah, if anything, you go by, sir, oh, don't go to that C-store
Yeah.
because that C-store really makes things, doesn't do it right. And you're gonna get sick there. You don't go to use the restroom, the whole bit. So yeah, it's all about that. So you have to train people, and training people is not easy because a lot of people don't want to follow through. They don't want to. They're just they go. "Ah, I don't have to do this. Why do I have to do this?" I get really tired. It's like the whining grandchild,
Mhm.
and I don't need that. So when I was a manager and I had employees that pulled that kind of scene, then I would say, we can't do this. We all have to pull together. We have to get it right. We have to do it well, and we have to deliver what we say we're going to do. I think that's the key.
Mhm.
So if we're able to do that, training and development is so important. Again, back to all the way back in our conversation, I mentioned about the fact that employees have to trust you. And they will trust you if you said, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to train you so that you can become a better employee and you can possibly become management soon. So it's all about that.
Mhm.
What can we do? So when you're doing training and development, we have to go through the entire piece and say, what do we have to use as far as tools? We have to use serve safe. Everybody should be serve safe in this industry. This industry, you have to have that.
Mhm.
Now, some places are like, well, I don't know. We use other programs besides serve safe. That's okay. There are lots of programs out there, but I want you to use something.
Mhm.
Something is very important.
And now, when you say something, a third party, as opposed to having an in-house trainer?
No, you have in-house trainer. In-house trainer is very important.
Okay.
So I think that that's a key thing. But I'm thinking of Educare and my brain just went dead. Prometrics and a few other companies are now doing ServSafe programs,
Okay.
and you can get a little cheaper. So you might want to take a look at some of the different things that are out there.
Okay.
Anyway, training is so important that we have to do that. And training is going to lead you to getting better employees. Better employees are going to have better relationships with the customers. The relationships with the customers will get better all the time as long as we're having also a smile on the face. That's very important.
Mhm.
And adding all those elements are going to make it a different kind of world we live in than just hi. And this happened to me this week. I can say that. Hi. And I'm just like, yeah, God, I want to get the. I told her what I wanted. Okay, and that was it. That was it. I'm thinking, God, yeah, I'm new to the place, and I even said, oh, this is a great looking store. Oh, okay, thanks. And it's like, no, don't do that to me,
Yeah.
because I really get upset when you do that.
And the old classics like Chick-fil-A, right? The training that goes in. How are you? Welcome. My pleasure. I mean,
I'd
it
be delighted.
yeah, it is ingrained in their training program. And
Yes.
when you're just talking like that naturally, you tend to want to just converse with the customer anyway. So a conversation starts, oh, what do you, and you feel good. You feel
Yes.
good. And you don't mind that you don't realize that you're just spending $18 now for a couple of
We spent more than that, so we could get some lunch.
yeah. And you see convenience store chains now are trying to pick up, especially in the Midwest, that more personable. Like I'm in New Jersey, and you don't want to know what they say to you when you order something here.
Well, I know it's same thing down here in the South. The South is not that much better. The Midwest, yes, I agree with you on that. So
Mhm.
that's the difference there. And we got to look at that and say, what can we do to improve? We've
Mhm.
got to improve because we only have a very small second to really get people interested in coming back to the store. And I'm thinking of all the places you can go. You don't have to come to us. You can go to plenty of places to eat. So That's important.
Yeah, and especially our customers are definitely creatures of habit. When they start feeling comfortable and getting what they want at a convenience store and like the interaction, they will go there all the time.
Yes, they will.
And like we said, they can have one bad experience and then you don't see them again
That's
and
correct.
you'll never know why. And
Correct.
that's tough. So on the training side, is there now ServSafe, these are certification programs? Are you
Yes.
an advocate? Okay, so you want your employees to be
I
certified.
want I want the managers to be
Okay.
certified in as management so that they can at least do the training correctly. They know the answers for the Board of Health. All of that is so important. However, employees there's a reduced kind of education with for them. It's a good education with books and papers and all that. However, it doesn't take as long. You
Mhm.
can do the entire training for an employee in really a total of 2 hours,
Okay.
and that's it. And that's included. So if we do that, and some places it is required. Arizona is required. Some other places it's required. You must do it because it's in the law. Now, at other places it's not required. So I guess management doesn't feel they have to do it. Yes, they do. You have to do it. You have to train people and you have to prepare people and you have to give them the tools and all of that. So I really want people to understand that we really have to take a look at how we're doing the training and how we're really getting into making sure that people are following through, especially management, following through on all that. I
And
think
this is
you go ahead.
and this is for everybody, right? This is whether you just have like a coffee and a pizza program or you're making sandwiches and have a real dynamic menu.
You really should have something better than just a let's say an operating system on the wall, which would be an operating. I can do this. I have a license. No, you don't.
Mhm.
You have to have a brain too. Brain says you have to do this. So it would be good to always have a certification. I think that all managers have to have that in most places, and other places they're allowed to sort of slide through on that. I've done training for several C-stores that are not within the typical programs. They don't have food that they feel is important, but I think it is important for them. However, because they don't necessarily understand they have to keep the place clean and that they have to keep the place attractive and they have to put the shelves up correctly. They have to start facing the product and all of that. The things that we normally do, some people feel that, don't have to do it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I think you asked too about the menus.
Mhm.
Menus should be focused. Menus need to be to the level that people can take it so that they can handle it. So if someone in our group can't do a certain menu, then don't do it. Just make sandwiches. That's enough to do. Good
Mhm.
grief. A good sandwich is tough to make. And you want to be able to do it well.
Now, one of the things I don't actually know Jerry Weiner. I'm sure you remember Jerry
Oh,
from
yes.
Rutter's, just a great guy. I don't think he may have taken the NACS Cafe class. I think I went
Yes, he
with someone
did.
from Rutter's, but not with Jerry. One of the great conversations I had with Jerry that was eye-opening for me was about how about waste and managing waste, and that some
Hmm.
managers who aren't trained will try to reduce waste and kind of push products. And Jerry said I forget what the number was, a minimum of 10% or 20% waste. When a product gets old, when coffee is old, get rid of it. And
Yes.
if you're not showing me that you're wasting it, then you're trying to push a product that we know is going to go bad onto customers. And that could be the guy that came in for the first time and they get that old coffee. And
Hmm.
and now that person says, "Oh man, this company's coffee is always old," versus the company that replaces it on time and brews a fresh cup, or someone says, "You have no coffee, can you brew me a fresh pot?" And you do, all part of standard operating procedures.
Yes. These SOPs we deal with are going to make or break us.
Hmm.
They really do. So we do have to follow through and make sure that we follow all the rules and the make sure that we are not keeping food forever. And it was 8%. That's my number,
8%. Okay.
8%. Now, Jerry had a little higher because he was dealing with a really broad menu.
Hmm.
And they would deal with different kinds of products that they would put into fryers and heaters and all kinds of stuff. So I would like to just see a group that focuses on the items you have, do it well, and make sure that we are doing what we need to do as far as the program and just keeping it all together.
Hmm. And presentation, right? I mean,
Oh
smell,
yeah, oh
look,
yeah.
people buy with their eyes all the time.
Hmm. And you can really make the smells come out. You can do that.
Hmm.
And even in our places, you can do that. So we just have to add something that's going to waft up those smells,
Oh, pizza or cookies. Yeah. You can't beat that smell when you go into a convenience store. All
and
right.
have cookies all the time.
And well, sampling. How about sampling? What do you think?
Yes,
Sampling.
excellent, excellent.
Put it in the hands of the customers.
Hmm.
All right. So let me put you on the spot one more time before we start to wrap up. We've talked about some of the pitfalls, but biggest mistakes, right? We had to play the game, gun to your head. Biggest mistake. Nancy's biggest pet peeve. You walk into a store and you see this, and you're like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this."
That's what I saw recently.
Which is,
I went in and I saw nobody at the counter,
hmm
which I really think is bad form. And then the other piece was that they didn't have the counters clean and arranged right, and they didn't have food looking good. The food was not even it's not even attractive.
hmm
And I don't like that. And that really turns me off. And especially since I'm in the industry. And it's like trying to like force somebody to eat something that you don't want to eat. And I don't want to do that. So I hate that. So there's a lot of things like that I could talk about, John, but let's not go that far.
well, mine is chewing gum. When I go to order and
Uh,
someone is making my food and they're chewing gum while they talk to me, oh my God, I have to walk out or else I'm going to say something over regret.
that's a good one.
Because it's disgusting. But yeah, the empty counter thing, I didn't even think about that. When you walk in and there's no one there.
I mean, I'm just like, and it wasn't even empty. It was a lot of people standing in line. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? And it was not like anybody was concerned. I think they were used to that. That's what they did when they came into there. And they also couldn't get the POP to work. That was another piece.
Yeah,
So
technology is here to help us. That's why you need you need good, reliable point of sale software, and
yes,
technology is helping. Hopefully, it's your friend. So I'm sure retailers, and whether it's National Retail Solutions or other um, point of sale providers and POP providers, uh, you need a partner that you can count on, just
yes,
the employees you can count on.
yes.
All right, good. Any closing thoughts from Dr. Caldarola?
I would like to see everybody become ServSafe certified or another certification program. I would like to see that happen. I think that everybody needs to be well aware that we drive the business. We drive the business and how we are serving our customers and taking care of it, the relationships that we build, all those pieces. I would like to see that really forced into the system. The culture is so important too. The culture's got to be one that encourages people and builds up the employees so that they're excited about being there.
All right. Well, actually, final question. Something you just said made me think of that. 20, in the mid 90s or before when convenience stores started getting into food service, did you think they'd come this far? Did you think they were capable as an industry, the Wawas and the great food service providers in our industry?
I grew up with Wawas in
Oh,
my
you're a
area.
Philly.
Yeah, Philly, right? Because I went to college there, and that's where I was eating Wawa early on. But there were a lot of other places that I wouldn't go to. And not to say that they were not good. I just didn't go to them because they didn't attract me in what they were offering, and they didn't attract me in anything that they were doing. And I don't like that. That's me.
Hmm
And I think that to get right back to Nancy likes a little bit of showmanship and all that kind of stuff. And I'd like to see all of that.
Excellent. I knew you were the right person to speak to today. Your expertise and the things you've forgotten could probably, sustain a great food service chain. So, do you have a contact? Do you want to list if people want to get your
Mhm.
expertise? What you want them in your email? What's the best way to reach you?
You can reach me at MGT Management, MGT Trainer, all one word, management trainer at outlook.com. That's
Excellent.
easy.
It is easy, and it's bringing Nancy into your organization is well worth it because she, like I said, she knows more than most of us forgot. So, thank you for your time today, Nancy. It was great
Thank
catching
you.
up.
Thank you.
All
I
right, good.
enjoyed it.
Good. So for Nancy, I'm John Lofstock. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to have you on another edition of the NRS podcast. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Ciao.